going to be what it's going to be, and we're ready for it.
Potent storms hitting California tonight with many people on high alert, especially in those communities that were devastated by recent wildfires. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. This latest round of severe weather is bringing with it heavy rain, strong winds, and a lot of snow in the mountains. In those Southern California burn areas, mudslides are a serious threat with significant runoff being seen already, while in the San Francisco Bay Area, people are dealing with widespread power outages. In Los Angeles County, authorities tonight are focused on those burn scar areas, and let's give you a live look here at conditions in LA. You can see some cloud cover here, but the region going through a bit of a lull in terms of rainfall right now, but the storms are going to continue. They will be on and off with rain across Southern California through this Friday. As Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez reports tonight, that is troubling news for people in the community of Sierra Madre worried about runoff near the Eaton Fire burn scar.
Already getting a taste of what's expected overnight, and Sierra Madre residents are busy.
All the debris that was up on the streets come in, it clogged up the drain.
Here's what's already flowing down from the hillsides near the Yucca Trail neighborhood, where one debris-holding structure is filled to the top. Last February, this was a spot where mud overflowed onto streets, so this time the neighborhood is already under evacuation orders. Greg here's not leaving.
It was terrible the other day. We evacuated, but this time I'm ready, and the city has done a lot of work, and I think it's going to pay off.
The effort here is to build barriers to direct possible mud flows, say Sierra Madre officials from their Emergency Operations Center.
That's what we still try to do, is keep it in our streets, not on private property.
You can see the barriers, sandbags everywhere. But as prepared as they might be, mud happens, is how residents put it. So the Red Cross is setting up an evacuation center at the YMCA.
We will offer breakfast and dinner if they decide to come. They don't have to stay overnight. They're more than welcome just to come and stay dry, out of the rain, and safe.
It's going to be what it's going to be, and we're ready for it.
And that was Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez reporting tonight from Southern California. Meantime, wet, windy weather is also pushing through the San Francisco Bay Area. The North Bay city of Santa Rosa among the areas being pounded with rain and dangerous wind gusts. Local authorities there say that brings along the threat of street flooding, downed trees, and power outages. PG&E is working to make sure that customers don't lose electricity.
When those trees fail near our electric lines, that can in turn damage our infrastructure and cause an outage.
More rain is going to ensure that California's reservoirs are topped off, though. The 6 biggest reservoirs are averaging 81% of capacity right now, and that's leaving enough room to capture even more precipitation in the coming days. Now, these new storms are also dumping a lot of snow up in the Sierra. Here's a live look at conditions in Soda Springs tonight. Drivers are required to have chains or snow tires if they're traveling along this stretch of Interstate 80 tonight. For more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking all of this wet, windy weather across the West. Mark?
Yeah, that's right, Alex. Multiple storms impacting the West Coast. And of course, the big change today, and you talked about Southern California, all these areas in green from Santa Barbara down towards San Diego under a flood watch. So later on tonight, so as we come in closer to Los Angeles, this basically in place right now from 6 o'clock tonight until Thursday, 6 p.m. So we have the flood watches in place as we take a look at the radar imagery. That rainfall is approaching Southern California for this evening. The rainfall has been a big factor in the San Francisco Bay Area. Alex mentioned the Sierra. You can see the snowfall definitely showing up there with the winter storm warning until 11 p.m. Thursday. And then a winter storm watch is issued for Friday. That could impact travel into the Sierra. They get the travel day on a Friday. And then here's some of the radar imagery in the Pacific Northwest from Portland. approaching the Seattle area as well. This was a scene in Los Angeles today, lower 60s, at least in Southern California today, Santa Monica, 62 degrees, the rainfall picking up. And in San Francisco, this camera clouded up with some raindrops on this camera lens earlier, 57 degrees. In fact, some of the rainfall totals in the Bay Area really adding up, as you can see, between about 1/4 of an inch to right around an inch up in Marin County, just north of the Golden Gate Bridge, San Rafael, 0.95. And then up in Seattle, some measurable rainfall as well, 0.16, with a high today of 51 degrees. Here is the big picture on the satellite and the radar. You can see this big trough impacting a good portion of the west coast. So that's linked up with today's rainmaker and snowmaker as well. And that's a speckled cloud cover. That's some cooler air that will move into the area as well. So that's kind of the theme for tomorrow. Cooler pattern, rainfall likely for Seattle, some showers off and on for San Francisco, especially for the morning hours. Of course, tracking the rain showers for Southern California, also approaching the Phoenix area. And then sunshine in the Denver area. Temperatures in the 60s, maybe approaching the 70-degree mark. So here's the plan tomorrow. A lot of coverage here showing up for your Thursday morning, 6 o'clock. The rain and the snowfall up in the Cascades and the Sierra. This is Thursday, 4 o'clock. Still the rain in Southern California, still a chance for San Francisco, and still some rain showing up in the Seattle area. And then another system that wants to come on board for Friday, first thing of Friday morning. So the active weather stretch will continue. Current numbers out there right now, it's a nice 71 degrees in Phoenix. Reno is 43, and up in Seattle, 49 degrees. Here is the forecast over the next 3 days, and keep the umbrella nearby. It looks pretty active, as you can see, for a lot of these cities, for Phoenix, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and in Seattle. Maybe some changes in the Denver area over the coming days. So it looks like Alex's active weather stretch will continue, at least over the next day or two.
All right, sticking with the rain for a few days. Mark, thank you. President Trump does not want to move forward with a lawsuit against the largest provider of housing for migrant children. Today, the Trump administration moved to drop a civil suit against Southwest Key Programs. The company operates migrant shelters in Arizona, California, and Texas. A lawsuit was filed during the Biden administration, alleging some migrant children were facing sexual abuse and harassment in the company's facilities. It sought a jury trial and monetary damages for victims. The Trump administration says it's dropping the lawsuit after a decision to no longer use the company's services. Canada and the European Union are now retaliating as the U.S.-led trade war heats up. Canada today announced 25% tariffs on more than $20 billion in U.S. goods. It's a response to the Trump administration's tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum. Canada's retaliation follows actions by the European Union, which is placing tariffs on $28 billion worth of U.S. goods, including beef, Harley-Davidson motorcycles, whiskey, and American-made steel and aluminum.
The countermeasures we take today are strong but proportionate. As the United States are applying tariffs worth $28 billion, we are responding with countermeasures worth 26 billion euros. This matches the economic scope of the tariffs of the United States.
The EU's retaliatory tariffs are set to go into effect on April 1st. Today, President Trump suggested he's not worried about the trade war escalating.
I'm not knocking it. They're doing what they should be doing, perhaps, for the European Union, but it does create ill will. And as you know, we're going to be doing reciprocal tariffs. So whatever they charge us, we're charging them. Nobody can complain about that.
And winemakers here in the West are bracing for Canadian bans on U.S. wine and liquor. The provincial government in British Columbia is ordering the removal of all American beer, wine, and spirits from liquor store shelves. This is likely to impact and seriously impact businesses across the country. One winery in Washington state exported $10 million worth of wine to Canada last year.
While wine's not directly impacted by the tariffs, we are impacted by the fact that all of the wine and American liquor is being pulled off the shelves in Canada. Impacts canned wine, impacts beer, the screw tops when you have on the bottles, that's impacting that cost as well.
And the winery's director believes the tariffs on aluminum will only exacerbate the situation, raising prices for canned wines as well as canned beer and any of those bottles of wine with those screw tops. Now on Wall Street today, stocks mostly rose after getting some relief from an encouraging inflation update. but they were bounced around by a tariff-induced sell-off. The Dow ended the day 82 points down. The Nasdaq was up by 212 points at the close of the session, and the S&P finished the day up by 27 points. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, an SUV goes airborne on a small residential street. The surveillance video of this dramatic crash. Plus, a city councilwoman's OnlyFans account stirs up controversy in Washington, how she's responding to critics who say she's not fit to serve her community. Also, a TikTok video helps police solve a murder. The two suspected killers they tracked down, and the show of gratitude from the victim's family.
We can bury my husband at least knowing that they have the people in custody.
A frightening scene caught on camera in Los Angeles County. The owner of a home security camera in Redondo Beach captured the moment an SUV appeared to hit a dip in the road, sending that car airborne on Monday. The driver lost control and hit a curb and eventually flipped over before coming to a stop. We did reach out to the police department in Redondo Beach for more details on the condition of the driver and any passengers in that SUV, and we're still waiting for a response tonight. A post on TikTok helped to lead to the arrest of two people suspected of carrying out a murder in Southern California. Fox 11's Gigi Graciette shows us how that video put investigators on the suspect's trail.
It was a dramatic end to a story that shook the community of Cerritos and destroyed a family. The murder of Cuauhtemoc Garcia, Temo as he was known, a beloved husband, father, and businessman, shot to death in broad daylight as he exercised on the bike path near Don Canabi Park. The suspects, originally persons of interest, a brother and sister, taken into custody Sunday night. 54-year-old John Chong Moon was arrested, accused of murdering Temo Garcia. His sister, 58-year-old Cindy Kim, also arrested for murder. Detectives believe that on February 25th, Moon and Kim followed Garcia, who didn't know them, on the bike path to possibly steal his SUV. The arrest came after an alert viewer saw our exclusive story on Friday, where police were trying to ID the pair. That viewer called the sheriff's department to say they had seen the couple in the most unlikely of places, on TikTok.
You started it. We were sitting.
It was the caller set in this video posted by a couple from Florida who began recording after they say the siblings used racial slurs at them as they ate in Cyprus. After the tip, a whirlwind of nonstop detective work by LA County Sheriff's homicide detectives Louis Aguilera and Yu Nam followed, leading to the identity of the siblings. An all-points bulletin was issued, Fullerton PD spotted them, and the rest is history. The two behind bars now, facing murder charges in the most senseless of killings. All thanks to good old-fashioned police work that started with a TikTok tip.
So I'm hugely grateful for the observation of this person and the thoughtfulness of sending it to Homicide Bureau and sharing it with us.
The Garcias and some of their extended family met with detectives to thank them, their hearts broken but filled with gratitude.
Thank you so much. You have made such a difference to a family, such a difference. So, you know, we can bury my husband at least knowing that they have the people in custody. So again, thank you so much.
And that was Fox 11's Gigi Graciette reporting for us tonight. The two suspects in that killing are still awaiting arraignment. We have new details tonight in the case of those 4 Idaho college students, all found murdered in their home. Prosecutors say the suspect, Brian Kohberger's defense team, is planning to argue that some evidence in the case could have been planted. That evidence includes a knife sheath with Kohberger's DNA on it. Kohberger is accused of stabbing the 4 college students to death at a home in Moscow, Idaho, back in 2022. Prosecutors revealed details of the defense's plan in a new court document Their characterization of the defense's strategy can't be confirmed due to many of the documents in this case remaining sealed. Koberger's trial is scheduled to begin August 11th. A 30-year-old cold case in Pierce County, Washington, has now been solved. 14-year-old Jeffrey Klungnis went missing in 1996 after his mother, Susan, was found murdered. In 2017, a skull was found, and DNA later confirmed that that skull belonged to Jeffrey. Authorities say the primary suspect in the case, Martin Malcolm, died of natural causes in 2022 before charges could be filed against him. And the long-awaited closure in this case came too late for Jeffrey's father, who died during the pandemic before hearing the news.
He had been searching that entire time. He was going up to the bus stops in Seattle. He was still handing out flyers. He was still working and operating and living every day with a little bit of hope that his son was alive somewhere.
Some aspects of this case are still being finalized, but officials describe the case as being resolved. The City Council in Linwood, Washington is reconsidering its pick for a vacant council seat after learning the appointee has a graphic OnlyFans account. Fox 13's Lauren Donovan has reaction to this controversial selection.
So as of today, though, that account linked to Jessica Roberts, it's no longer active, as is her alleged Reddit account. But to be clear, up until this discovery was made on Monday, none of this was being done in secret. She was sharing explicit images of herself all over the internet, linked to all her social media accounts. But before we do get into the rest of this story, we want you to know what we're about to show you is relatively graphic.
It's the local expose now burning a hole in the internet. A newly appointed Linwood City Council member scrutinized for explicit content which has some people questioning whether she's fit to lead. The firestorm started Monday when images that are months, if not years old, caught the public's attention. Visit Jessica Roberts' Instagram, click the link, and you're transported straight to her adult content, hiding in plain sight and serving as a stark contrast to her civic ambitions.
I feel my voice would be useful, particularly with regards to walkability for pedestrians.
After talking with current council members, I learned statements made by Roberts online raised eyebrows even further. Specifically, alleged dark and bizarre Reddit commentary too disturbing for us to air. Roberts sent me this statement defending that, quote, "While I appreciate and understand the concern regarding the revelations around my personal life, this would not impact my ability to do the job I was appointed to do or my ability to serve my fellow residents." Why did we learn about this after council selected her? 19 candidates applied for the vacant seat, and of that, 8 were selected for interviews. When council did debate Roberts' qualifications, her OnlyFans work wasn't part of the discussion. So what did they focus on?
Once you're on the city council, you become a public official. Residents will approach you at any time at events, in the grocery store, or on the street and tell you that you are doing good work on the council or that you're doing a bad job. Are you prepared for that type of engagement if you're appointed as a council member and if you choose to run for this office in November?
Yes, I am. I wish I could say that threats of physical harm would be new to me, but they're not. The other thing is that you have to have that dialogue.
Roberts was approved unanimously. And despite the criticism, she respects the council doing its due diligence, telling me she'll still serve if they'll have her.
So what's next? Well, tomorrow night, Linwood City Council is reconvening right here to discuss whether or not they should actually rescind this decision, reverse it, and if they decide to part ways with Roberts, then they've got until April 5th to make the decision. They're on deadline, and if they can't find a replacement for this vacancy after that, the decision will fall upon Snohomish County Council. Reporting in Linwood, Lauren Donovan, Fox 13 News.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, an emotional reunion. A cat back home with her family 2 months after going missing during the Palisades fire. How she survived in the midst of so much devastation.
So worried that she would think that we had abandoned her. I just didn't know how to cope with that. That cat really has 9 lives.
An Oregon appeals court has upheld a gun control law that was passed by voters more than 2 years ago. This decision reverses a lower court ruling from a state judge who put a pause on the law. The law is one of the strictest in the U.S., requiring a criminal background check and a gun safety course in order to get a permit to buy a firearm. It also bans magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. Opponents of the law now have 35 days to appeal this decision. Well, a cat feared dead after Southern California's Palisades fire is back home with her family tonight. Fox 11's Haley Winslow has the emotional reunion.
A clip of this cat has quickly gone viral, and for good reason. I know I cry every time I watch it. But when the Palisades fire first broke out, Aggie's family couldn't find her anywhere. And after scouring the rubble for 2 months, they definitely didn't expect her to survive. But over the weekend, they got their miracle. After 2 months fighting to survive, little Aggie looks up at her mom longingly. Crying, Catherine Kiefer cradles her cat like a baby.
I feel really, really lucky. Actually, didn't think I'd ever see her again.
Hi, sweetie.
There's just such a connection. It's sort of like you have with your children. She really means, I'd say, I don't want to say everything, but that's the only word that comes to mind. She's just a spirit, and she's her own soul.
Under her charred fur is just skin and bones. With practically no sign of life in the fire zone, the 5-year-old Maine Coon has been living off the rubble.
I have horrible dreams about how she was trying to survive. But she did.
On Friday, exactly 2 months after the Palisades fire broke out, an animal control officer found the kitty very weak and close to what was home here on Bestor Boulevard.
Aggie! Aggie! What are you doing? You got a new lease on life? So I got all my mats taken off today.
West LA Animal Shelter scanned Aggie's microchip and contacted Kiefer, who raced the cat to VCA Chad Oak and then to Access Animal Hospital in Pasadena. She's had 2 blood transfusions, and Aggie is miraculously expected to go home, currently in Airbnb, on Thursday.
I just didn't think I'd ever really get past her losing her. I felt so worried that she would think that we had abandoned her. I just didn't know how to cope with that. That cat really has 9 lives. Just don't give up hope. Don't underestimate cats.
Animal rescuers who are still going into the Palisades every day looking for cats say that they found them 9 months after a fire. So don't give up on those cats. Reporting the Palisades, I'm Haley Winslow, Fox 11 News.
Remarkable story. All right, that does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching as always. And a quick reminder before we go, you can stay up to date on all the big stories we're covering across the West by heading to our website. It's westcoastwrap.com. Stream our shows with your smart TV by downloading the free Fox Local app, and have a great night.